Thank you very much. Dear members of the European Parliament, dear representatives of the industry, first and foremost, please let me thank you to the European Internet Forum for organizing this interesting event and for inviting me to share some thoughts on taxation issues on behalf of the European Tech Alliance and Allegro, which is an e-commerce marketplace from Poland. Dear Mr. Stefanec, I very much welcome the opportunity to discuss here the taxation issues posed by the digitalization of our economy, as these issues are crucial if we want to develop a fair, dynamic and, as it was underlined, competitive market in Europe. I think you very rightly framed the debate, so please let me share some points by the European Tech Alliance on the works on digital services tax and recent OECD development. And there are just a few points from Allegro and other marketplaces that are members of the European Tech Alliance on the VAT e-commerce directive. Regarding the digital services tax, it has been our impression that policy discussion around the digital taxation has a bit too much focus on a handful of global companies and business models, but we know for a fact that legislation in this field can have a strong impact on European Tech Alliance, and that's why we're here to contribute to the debate. EUTA is fully behind the OECD effort to ensure fair taxation in a digitalized economy. Indeed, as the organization, we submitted a response to the public consultation, and some of our members contribute to the proposal that is currently being discussed. We are pleased to see the progress with the release of the framework proposal this month. And of course, the devil will lie in the detail, but what is vital is to use this political momentum towards an international consensus. And we do believe that European Union should be at the forefront of this debate. All companies might have different views, but what is crucial to make sure that we remain competitive is to have a system that will be simple, administratable, and that will avoid double taxation. Two other important points that EUTA members agree on is first that digital economy cannot be ring-fenced and any new system must apply economy-wide. Second, the proposition that users of digital services participate in the value creation does not exactly align with business realities. Raw data has no value, and it is where it is aggregated, analyzed, and translated into innovation and business decisions where the value creation takes place. Taxing business simply on the basis on where users provide data would create enormous complexity and probably result in a double taxation. With regard to the DST, we were pleased when the EU refocused on international negotiation as taxing revenues rather than profits, even when companies are loss-making, would have been quite damaging to growth and scaling. Moreover, our members who would be affected by the DST now or in the soon future are European companies that are already paying taxes in Europe. We hope that all countries would hold off on pursuing unilateral DSTs, and in the case if some go ahead, we believe that it should be an element of the OECD international solution to automatically repeal such actions. On the VAT that was already mentioned by the representative of the Commission, please let me share some practical points which refer to how we perceive the challenge related to the implementation of the VAT directive in the shorter and long term. As you probably know, the changes that will be applicable in 2021 will require e-commerce marketplaces to collect VAT on certain parcels, namely those with low-value goods coming from third countries, and second, to pay VAT via so-called import one-stop shop. The aspiration that we fully support was to cover the VAT gap, and the works that we've been taking part in with the European Commission proved quite challenging from a technical point of view, but we're very committed to find practical and viable solution to make the system work. I think that what European marketplaces and members of the EUTA count is that the solution that will be introduced will ensure proportionality, certainty, consistency, and fiscal neutrality. First of all, we need rules that would acknowledge limited knowledge that marketplaces have, as they're not in the possession of goods and they have to rely heavily on third-party information. Second, these solutions need to be the tools to comply with this solution must allow for automatization, because given the millions of transactions and tens of thousands of parties engaged in selling and buying on marketplaces, doing that, complying manually, would be simply impossible. Third important point, very practical one, as we need to work on IT solutions to have this framework implemented on time, it is very important to have the clarity regarding the rules, probably around at the end of this year. Second point, we hope that these solutions will be as simple and workable as possible. For instance, if the marketplace comply with this the directive, collects the VAT, we need to be sure that parcel that is coming to our customer will go through customs and tax services smoothly, not to have any delays or consumer discontent. Third, I think the consistency in implementing the VAT rules will be key, as member states are already currently working on the transposition of the directive. We believe that making sure that both implementation and application is harmonized will be really important for the development of internal market. Last point that I want to make, and it's also a part of a broader discussion that we have about the competitiveness of the European companies, is that these rules shall not put European marketplaces nor other compliant marketplaces at a competitive disadvantage. Currently, as the system of import one-stop shop is drafted, it allows to opt in or opt out in using the system. As a result, the collection of VAT for marketplaces that will not comply will fall on postal operators and express couriers, which would mean that among all the parcels that are coming through the border, those with unpaid VAT would have to be singled out from those for which VAT was paid, which would create a very complicated implementation and potential loopholes to avoid the VAT. That's why we believe that it would be to the benefit of the system if simply everyone was obliged to apply it. That's it from me for now. I'll be very happy to thank you for your attention. I'll be very happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.